Sex Talk.
Hi, welcome back to the Sex Talk. And I want to do this talk because so many people that I work with, that I come across, that want to sort of like include something into their lifestyle. Jenna and I did a video, if you look through our channel, called Monogamy with Agreement. So this is kind of a part 2 of that, or essentially basically kind of reminding you that your version of monogamy is okay. And as a couple, you two get to decide what that means and what it looks like. Now, this video is couple-centric, and I know that there is couple privilege, and I do want to do a video on that as well, and I'll talk about it a little bit right now. Couple privilege is basically like, we live in a society that really supports the couple. In fact, supports the couple more than it supports any other conglomeration of people. So it supports couples way more than it supports singles. And it definitely doesn't support thruples or foursomes, or as my associate Melissa calls it, moresomes. So we live in a couple-centric society, and very much going along with that, when we embark on non-monogamy, we often embark on non-monogamy from a place of, I'm already in a couple, right? If you're not already in a couple, this conversation around non-monogamy may not come up, because if you're a solo individual engaging in non-monogamy, you're not having these conversations with a partner. You're maybe having this conversation with multiple partners, but you're not having a conversation around monogamy. So when I talk about different definitions of monogamy, I am therefore assuming the couple, which I had to caveat, and I went on this long sort of like tirade around it, which is the most acceptable form of relationship in our society. And it's even more acceptable than being single. Although, if you're a guy who's single, that's actually kind of acceptable. So, eye roll. But here we go. Here I want to talk about, let's say you are in a couple and you're monogamous, but you are monogamous with agreements, which what we talked about in our last video about monogamy with agreements just basically means like you and your partner have agreed on what, maybe you'll have like you can have a one-night stand pass, or maybe you have an agreement to go to a play party, and watch other people have sex and they watch you have sex. Or maybe you've agreed that don't ask, don't tell. Like, yeah, you can go and hook up with someone and I just don't want to know about it. These are all agreements that couples come up with. Now, the reason we did the video called Monogamy with Agreements was because that agreements part, basically, you're no longer monogamous, but you're calling yourself monogamous and you're making like concessions here and there as you go. You're not like identifying as a non-monogamous couple, which is great, which is monogamy with agreements. What I wanted to talk about was couples get to define together what monogamy is. So one thing that comes up a lot is cheating. And it's really important for couples to talk about what it means to cheat. Because this is where we see a lot of like conflict in the office, in the therapy room, where one partner is spending a lot of time with the other partner, and the other one partner is spending a lot of time with someone outside of the partnership, maybe someone of the opposite sex, maybe someone of the opposite gender, or maybe someone of the same gender, or maybe someone of a different gender, and they're just spending a lot of time with that person. And the other person's feeling left out and angry, frustrated. And this partner's like, well, I'm not doing anything. We're just hanging out. Like, nothing's happening. And this partner's like, no, something is absolutely happening. And this partner is like, no, you're crazy. Nothing's happening. I haven't cheated on you. So another thing that I need to sort of unpack here is cheating. Cheating has, in our world, come to mean penis and vagina sex, kissing, anything that involves like physical contact, I guess. Anything that feels like you have crossed the line into like now you're touching and kissing each other and maybe exchanging fluids as your definition of cheating. But that's not everybody's definition of cheating. I feel like that's the assumptive version of cheating in our world, but we need to be more clear about how we see cheating, and couples need to define that together. Maybe romantic cheating is a thing for someone, and if you're out having this like full-on sort of like romantic, intimate partnership with somebody that's not your monogamous partner in a couple, and your other partner isn't, and they're frustrated about it, then that's something that needs to be talked about, because maybe if you're doing that, they should be allowed to be doing that too. And that's where we talk about monogamy with agreements. Yes, I would call that relationship non-monogamous if you're now talking about what you're allowed to do as partners. Are you allowed to go and see other people as long as there's no physical fluid exchange? You can hold hands, you can cuddle. Maybe cuddling and holding hands is even off the table. Maybe anything physical is off the table, but you're allowed to do that, and this person's allowed to do that too. Maybe you don't want to label yourself as non-monogamous, but you're having romantic relationships, which is fine. To me, that's polyamorous. Polyamorous does mean that you have the capability of loving multiple partners. It doesn't have anything to do with crossing over into physical intimacy. It can and often does. Again, these are things that you two get to decide together as a couple. What is permissible in your relationship? And if you need to go outside of those agreements, then maybe it's a conversation that needs to be had. And that's still, maybe you can label yourself as monogamous. That's totally fine. How you label yourself is up to you. The nice thing about labeling yourself polyamorous or swinger is you can gain access to a community where you can get a little bit more support. Labeling yourself as monogamous while engaging in non-monogamy, engaging in these sort of acts where you have agreements, doesn't allow for that space, that place for you to have community. You're still kind of stuck in that very rigid monogamous world, which may seem safer because it's more widely accepted, but it may feel like, because it's the norm, that's where you feel the most safe. But it's also important to remember that you lose the community, and you're engaging in something that really should be more political, in the sense that if you were out loud and proud about it and talked about it with the world could potentially shift. But if you're not talking about it, and if you're kind of doing it in secret, you're doing it it's sort of shame-based. But that's fine. That's for couples to decide together. You know, one of my platforms in the soapbox is like, come out, wherever you are. But not everybody wants to. Not everybody feels safe doing it. So I want to say all in good time. But yes, if you and your partner are having couples conversations about non-monogamy or monogamy, which, yay, I really absolutely love that you are. I also think that if you could be out about it, we would be seeing more and more like people being like, yeah, my partner and I were more fluid, and less people having to feel shame and hide about it. So that's kind of my my quick talk today about monogamy. You get to define it together, and you should define what cheating means, define what infidelity means, define what monogamy means to you. Are you allowed to, what are you allowed to do? What are you not allowed to do? Come to some agreements around it if you disagree. If you have trouble, coming to agreements about it, I would seek the help of a therapist that is well-versed in non-monogamy and or polyamory, ethical non-monogamy and polyamory, and start having these conversations, because they're very important to your livelihood, to your happiness. They're very important to feeling good. They're very important to pleasure. They're very important in growth. And relationships are a great place where we can heal ourselves and heal our past traumas and have wonderful relationships and continue to grow. So having these conversations can allow for that. And that's it today for the Sex Talk. Bye. The Sex Talk.